Okay, this is the sentencing gap. It's real, but I've never seen it this big. Keith Renerie, 120 years in prison. Alison Mack, his accomplice, only 3 years. And we're going to get into this and we're going to show you just how bad it is. Okay, this is going to show the collusion of Alison Mack with Keith Renerie in the sex cult.
How do you feel?
Arriving at a Brooklyn courthouse with her team this morning, Alison tries to shield herself from the swarm of media. Emily, saying her actions were abusive, abhorrent, and illegal. But despite her prison sentence, Alison isn't expected to begin serving time until later. Ahead of the ruling, the 38-year-old actress offered a series of apologies in her statement to the federal judge, addressing it to those she says have been harmed by ever exposed due to the nefarious and emotionally abusive schemes of a twisted man. That man would be NXIVM's leader, Keith Renerie. Prosecutors say Alison recruited sex slaves on his behalf and even came up with the idea to brand their victims with her initials, as well as Renerie's. The high-profile...
Did you hear that? She came up with the idea of branding these women with her initials and also his as well. His was an afterthought. So when Alison Mack here says, I'm sorry I ever exposed you to the nefarious and emotionally abusive schemes of a twisted man, she's excluding herself. But this was her idea. This was her idea. So this is how it's done. It's the man is to blame for everything. Alison Mack was turned on by this. That's why she was involved.
Multiple documentaries, including HBO's The Vow.
There's a secret organization in NXIVM.
They sign a lifetime vow of obedience.
And they're branding girls.
And they're trying to recruit us.
Pleaded guilty in April 2019 to multiple charges, including extortion and forced labor. Today's sentencing is part of her plea deal with prosecutors after she provided them with substantial evidence regarding the crimes committed by Renerie and other NXIVM leaders.
So you see that, how it works? She's as guilty as he is, but they want to get him. They want to get the man, and they're looking for an excuse to let the woman go. So what they've done is they've offered her a plea deal, and that plea deal will allow her to get out of it. She's only getting 3 years. That's chump change from what this guy is getting. So you understand the motivation. This is not about justice in any form. Now, this is an article from the New York Times that was discussing this. And I'm bringing you down to this. At Renerie's trial, a primary focus was a secretive woman-only group inside NXIVM. During the videotaped initiation ceremony, the women lay naked on the table saying, "Master, please brand me," as a cauterizing pen seared their skin without anesthesia. So where's Renerie? This is a women's only circle. So the women weren't just involved, they were also pulling the strings. They didn't want Renerie around. Matter of fact, Alison Mack, this is another one. Alison Mack files divorce from wife Nikki Klein. Nikki Klein is still a supporter of Renerie's. And he says, a staunch reporter of Renerie. She insisted the court papers at NXIVM were merely a group of women who sought guidance from a trusted, intelligent man and created a secret sorority of women that implemented somewhat unconventional practices in the pursuit of growth and personal freedom. So what it is, Alison Mack and this woman, they're lesbians and they're sexually turned on by branding these women. Do you understand? This is what it is. And so for them to focus on Renerie shows you what is the injustice of this. This guy does deserve to go behind bars. Make no mistake. But for him to get 120 years, while Mack gets a lousy 3, incredible. Now, like I said, where you'll now look at how people view the two. This is how they see Renerie.
And forced labor. Several former members of his organization sharing their relief outside of court.
This is the finale for him. His victimization of people, his terrorizing people, it really is over. 120 years, right? So when I got over my shock, I was like, yeah, okay, he can't come for me now.
So one would
Sorry, that woman does not look concerned or scared.
say authenticity is being as you are.
Prosecutors say Renerie, known as Vanguard to his followers, was a conman and a predator who exploited women, blackmailing them to be his slaves, have sexual relationships with him, and having them branded with his initials.
It was the most inhumane, horrific way to treat anybody.
In court Tuesday, Renerie maintaining his innocence, calling his victims free-thinking adults. More than a dozen former members confronting him in court, delivering impact statements, including India Oxenberg.
This one's important. You'll be seeing her later.
Who joined the group when she was 19 years old. Emotional at times, telling the judge Renerie stole 7 years of her life, calling him a sexual predator, adding, "I will be a victim of Keith Renerie for the rest of my life, but I don't need to live as one."
So she is a victim, but she's not a victim. Okay. But remember this girl's words, and we'll see how she compares when she talks about Alison Mack, who is also branding women.
And put out a statement, apologize. Do you accept that apology?
I do. It does not change the past for me. It really just informs me about her and where she's at in her own healing process.
What would you say to her today?
Her own healing process. Alison Mack wasn't a victim. She was a perpetrator.
If you could speak to her.
It feels really simple, but I just wish her well. I don't wish her any ill will. It's not necessary. I don't need to do that. I'm moving on, and I certainly hope that she does.
Really? Why would you wish well someone who is branding women and getting off on it? So how come this woman isn't saying the same thing to Renerie? When, you know, he's a sick man. He did bad things, but I'm above this, and I hope he gets well after his 3-year sentence. This is a total 180 from this woman. What the hell is up with this sisterhood garbage? Alison Mack is 100% guilty. Every bit as guilty as Renerie. Because like I showed, that there was a secret sorority. There was a women's only group that didn't even include Renerie. They were getting off on this. They were sexual sadists. They were into the BDSM and into the sexual enslavement fetish. Now, I heard other of these inner circle women are finally getting arrested. I heard another woman was getting 6 years out of it. You know, so just look at the difference. Society does not want to blame women for the things they do. They don't want to jail them for the things they do. They just want to find some guy to put all the blame on. Renerie, even though he's guilty, that 120 years is basically him being the scapegoat for all these women. All the years they would give to them, they've taken off and give to him. Alison Mack, like I said, they gave her a plea bargain so they wouldn't have to punish her. So they could go after this guy. This is how bad it is. And something has to be done by people, you know, about people's attitudes. If we want any kind of a proper judicial system. Anyway, that's what I have to say about this.